Facebook. Welcome to Life with Annie. I'm getting ready to make a full-on dinner tonight and thought you might like to join in. It actually has kind of two purposes for this meal. Since I was away last weekend for Mother's Day, I had originally planned to make my mother a nice Mother's Day dinner and pack it up and take it over to her, but I ended up going to the beach at the last minute, so I didn't do that. So I wanted to do it this weekend and get it over there to her, and we had such a deluge yesterday that it was just so nasty that I didn't get around to it. I really didn't want to go out in all that rain, so I'm doing it today. Now, this meal is also for her neighbor, Gladys, that lives just a few houses down, and I think she has a son, but I'm not sure that he lives locally, so I wanted to share this meal with her as well so that she could enjoy it. So I need to get started because I'm doing like 2 or 3 different things, so we gotta get on the move here. The meal is going to be a chicken dish, and what I need to do first of all is make my dry rub. Now, I did look up some recipes for like the rotisserie seasonings that go into, those rotisserie chickens, and I'm gonna kind of go by some of that. Then I'm gonna add a few things of my own that I like in it. So we're going to get started with that first, and I'm going to put all of the dry ingredients in this bowl, and then we'll season up the chicken. And the first thing it calls for are 4 teaspoons of salt. Now, this particular dry rub that I'm doing is for 2 whole chickens. So we probably will have enough. If not, we'll make do. So there's 4 teaspoons of salt and 1 howl from thunder. Alright, the next ingredient is 2 teaspoons of paprika. And I'm going to hold this over the sink. I think I always tend to do these videos when the mail lady's going by. I felt really bad that I didn't, there's a little bit more in there, I didn't get this thunder. We all hear you. That I didn't get this meal done for her, and it's been weighing on my nerves, so I wanted to get it done. Okay. The next thing is a teaspoon of onion powder. I don't have onion powder, but I have minced onion, so I'm going to go with that. I'm fine with it. That in, and a teaspoon of dried thyme, or thyme as I say. I'm going to kind of rub that around to release some of the flavor. When you mix it with the oils in your fingers, it kind of releases the flavor, although it smells quite good on its own. And then it calls for a teaspoon of white pepper and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. I don't buy white pepper, so I'm just going to put 1.5 teaspoons. I heard somebody knocking at my door. Y'all hold on just 1 second. Must have been my imagination. Okay, so we got the pepper in, and I see some, hey Melissa. Sorry about that, it's trying to reconnect. Hey Linda, I hope you all are there. It just went messy on me. Okay, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I think we got all the seasonings that this recipe calls for. And then I like to add, I've got this Cajun seasoning that I like to add, so we'll put a little bit of that in there. And lemon pepper. And I'm just going to estimate it at. And then, if I knew where it was, I would probably add in some Lowry seasoned salt. But I can go back and sprinkle that on in a little bit. So I'm just going to mix these up together. And if I sneeze, it's the pepper. Are y'all back? I mean, can y'all see? Because I lost you and then it immediately came back, but I don't know if y'all were actually there or not. So if someone could do a like or something and let me know. Okay. I don't know, so I'm going to keep going anyway. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of this down in the bottom of my pan here. And then I'll lay some of the chicken. And I bought, we like chicken thighs, so that's what I've got here. Get that coated on the bottom. Then I'm going to start placing the chicken in here. I may not be able to get all of it in this pan, but that's okay. Add another pan later. And I'm putting my skin side down, and I'll flip it during the cooking process. Go ahead, put a little more seasoning on it. I have 2 pieces of chicken left, so I may just kind of tuck these on top because I want to get all this cooked. Because this is going to be mine and Matt's dinner, and it'll be for my mom and for Gladys. So I want to make sure everybody gets enough. And usually when I make this baked chicken, I'll just throw whatever spices I want to put on it. Matt sometimes will make it and he'll just put together what he likes, but we love to bake it in the oven. It's a little bit healthier than frying. I did leave the skin on. Thank you, Linda. I did leave the skin on, so but we like that, so you can always take the skin off if you want to. Alright, now I'm going to stack those last 2 pieces on top here. Get this last one out of the bowl. Okay. And I'm just going to put all this seasoning all over. I love a lot of seasoning, so. And then usually when Matt and I make this chicken baked like this, we always take, we cut up a little bit of an onion. And in this case, I have my purple red onion, so we just kind of lay it around. It just happens to be what I had in the house. And a lot of this recipe that I'm doing today is kind of using what I've got. Like for the dessert that I'm going to show you, I'm just using what I had in the house. So we'll just put those onions over there. They'll crisp up when they bake in the oven, and they're so good with the chicken. So that is our chicken dish, and that wasn't too complicated, just mixing up your seasonings and cutting up a little bit of onion. And I'm going to put this in the oven and show you the next part of the dish, of the dinner. Okay, now this next part, and let me set this over to the side so we have more room. I'll be right back. And I'm going to grab something out of the microwave. Alright, now this next recipe, this is a recipe that my grandmother used to make, and she called it Italian rice. And I really don't know why she called it that. I don't know that there's anything Italian about it. We certainly weren't Italian. She didn't come from an Italian background, but that's what she has on her handwritten recipe, is that it's called Italian rice, and that's what we always called it. I know you've seen something like this out there that's been called brown rice, but this is what we know it as, so we're going to make that. And it's real easy to make, and sometimes when I make this, I'll do it early in the morning and put it in the refrigerator, and when I get home, the rice has kind of absorbed some of the liquid that's in there, and it cooks a lot faster. But I'm going to show you how we do it. And I'm doubling the recipe. So I've got about 1½ to 1 3/4 sticks of butter. If you do the single, it's 1 stick of butter. And you just melt your butter, and then you need a cup of rice. And I've got all my bags of rice in here because I've got brown rice and short grain, long grain, so I'm just going to measure out. Since I'm doubling it, I'm going to use 2 cups of rice. And there's my rice collection. All right. So you put your rice in, and your butter, like when I do this in the morning, I just put the stick of butter in there. I don't melt it or anything. I just let the butter sit in there. Okay. And then for this recipe, sometimes I put this in and sometimes I don't. She would put a little bit of onion in this. So I've cut up a little bit of onion. Here, I'm just trying to get rid of what I had, and I had that one little partial onion in there, so I'm using that. And then you need the beef consomme soup. Now, I've had trouble finding this. I used to find it on every soup aisle that I would go to, but I had trouble finding it, so I haven't made it in a while, and I think I finally found it at Bi-Lo. My mom and I looked at Walmart a few times, and I couldn't find it there, but you need the beef consomme soup. And if you're doing one recipe, it's like 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of rice, 1 can of soup, and a 1/2 can of water. If you're doubling it, it's going to be, and then a little bit of onion. It's going to be 2 cans and then a whole can of water. So I'm just going to pour all that in there, and I'm going to add close to a can. I like that strong consomme flavor, so I don't usually add as much water as the recipe, her recipe tells you to add. And that's dish number 2. You just put this in the oven, and it's just the best rice. It just has, I don't know, like I said, I don't know where the Italian rice name came from, but she made it all the time when we were children, and we love it. So that's going to be the second part of the meal for Gladys and my mother. And I'm going to open the oven again and put this in. Move something here. Alright, now this third thing is the dessert, and I'm kind of low on my groceries this week, so I just was kind of looking around at what I had in the refrigerator, what I could use, and what recipe I could find that used those ingredients. And I've been seeing this recipe come through a lot on Facebook, and I had pinned it to Pinterest a while back, and it's called a sugar milk pie. And when I was reading up about it, the person that posted it said that it probably was a pie that was used or made a lot during the Depression back in 1929, I think they said, because it only has 3 ingredients plus your pie crust. It's got 2/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of flour, and it didn't say if it had to be self-rising or plain. I'm using plain, so we're going to see how this turns out. And then 2 cups of cream. And believe it or not, I have a whole container, 2 cups of cream in my refrigerator. So, yay me. You need to preheat your oven. I'm not going to do this right now because I've got other stuff going in there. But you mix together. Let me grab my bowl. You mix together your sugar and your flour. It doesn't call for butter. It doesn't call for eggs. So obviously it was something that, you know, they used back in the day when they couldn't afford, you know, all the extra ingredients that they needed. So you just kind of whisk that together. And then I'm going to grab my cream. I'm just using heavy whipping cream. I guess that's what they intended for you to use, so I'm sure their cream was a lot better back then. My grandmother, she used to get this cream from one of my relatives. I think it was my great aunt, and we would get it and put it over peaches, and that was, you just can't find that kind of stuff anymore. I think these cartons are related to the biscuit containers that I can't ever open. Alright, so, and I've got my store-bought unbaked pie crust, and it just said to start adding this in kind of a little bit along until it's all kind of mixed in. I am going to add a little bit of vanilla. I thought, well, you know, I've got some vanilla. Let me just put a little bit of that in it to make, you know, see how that does. And then it also said that, that whoever posted this recipe said that she had made it before with adding some cocoa to make it a chocolate sugar milk pie, or she said she had put coconut in it before to, and she said that one was really good. So I've got both. Do y'all think I should add coconut or some cocoa to it? I'll let y'all decide. Y'all can say yay or nay to that. really well. I'll go ahead and add in my vanilla. I'm just going to put what I think is about a teaspoon. And I got to get some vanilla too. I'm out of that. That was the last of that. Well, great minds think alike, Linda. Do y'all think I should put any coconut or... And she also said when she took out that sometimes she would sprinkle either some cinnamon on the top, because I noticed the picture, it looked like it had something on top. She would either sprinkle cinnamon or nutmeg. I probably would not want to do that on my particular pie, but I mean, the pie looks good from the picture, but we'll see how it tastes. You think the coconut or the cocoa? Which one? I've got both. Lord knows I got cocoa, and I always have coconut. So, coconut, chocolate. I love them both. How about a little coconut? I think we'll try a little coconut. Because she really made the point to say that the coconut was really good. So we're going to go with some coconut. And I had made a cake the other week, and I took some over to Mama and Gladys, and it had some coconut in it, so I think that they like that, so I know my mom likes it. Alright, so we got that. And it's not a whole lot of coconut, it's just enough to give it a little flavor. And the recipe also said that it looked, when she found it in her mother's recipe collection, and she said it was hard to kind of pick up, it was so fragile. So I think I'm going to add just a touch more coconut because I want to at least see it. Let's just put all that in there as I throw coconut everywhere. I was going to make one of the crustless custard pies. That is one of mine and Matt's favorite pies ever since I made that. And I did do a video on that a while back. But I'm almost out of milk. So, but I did have this whole container of cream, so I didn't have enough milk. I guess I could have substituted some of the cream for the milk, but I've been wanting to try this pie, to be honest. Okay, so that is the pie, and I'm just going to pour it into our crust, and then you bake it for 40 to 45 minutes or until it's set. So and I will cook that in a little bit. I do have a loaf of bread, and by no means did I make this bread dough. I bought the frozen bread loaves, and they're so good, and I've got one of these rising, so I'll have bread. And then the only other thing I'm going to make, I'm going to make it easy on myself since I did all this other work. I'm just going to make some corn. It's what I had. I didn't have any broccoli in the freezer. So I'm just going to make some corn. I'll probably saute this up in a pan with a little bit of milk. Very little bit of milk, and maybe a little sugar, salt and pepper in there. And I guess this is what you would call one of my blonde meals, because every the colors are all kind of the chicken, the rice, the pie, the corn, everything. That's what I call my blonde meals. I will post the recipes, Linda. And the baked chicken is good. I mean, of course, I'm adding some spices that I maybe don't normally put in mine, but you can just put whatever spices you like in it. And I'm probably going to go back and put a little bit of Lawry's on the top of them too. But I'm going to package this up. I have a couple of things here. When I slice my bread, I can probably stand a couple of slices of bread up in here so they don't get smushed, or I can put them in some foil. But I've got those, and then I've got these little things, and I had ordered these at Christmas and I didn't use them all. And these you can write either with chalk. I've got a white marker I'm just going to write on there, and I could put, like, you know, the chicken in one of them, and the rice in one, and maybe the rice and the corn in one, and then some dessert in the last one, and maybe just stand up the bread in that one. And I can have, you know, Gladys's name on there and Mama's name on there. And so that's kind of a belated Mother's Day gift, but I didn't get around to doing it last weekend because I was out of town, so I wanted to make sure that I got something to them, so they would at least have their Mother's Day meal just a little bit late. So I've got a lot of cooking going on here. I got to clean up my mess, but I just wanted to stop in and share that little video with you. And again, it's kind of geared toward use what you've got in your kitchen. And you know, if you've got some chicken and some seasonings, you can make a nice baked chicken meal. You can do something with potatoes, macaroni and cheese. But I'm just excited to finally get this meal made for them, and I know they'll be happy, and I know Gladys will too. So thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you again real soon. If you're still getting rain, as we're probably going to get a big ton of rain, I need to take all my plants outside. Stay safe, because I think we're going to get it for the next 2 or 3 days at least. But the weekend looks good. So anyway, we'll talk to you real soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye.